What's going on, filmmakers? I'm Alexandru and today we're gonna take a look at some footage shot on the Red Raptor and Helios 44-2 and other vintage lenses. Let's begin.
Let me get lobster, please. Little prime rib, crab rangoon, cream cheese.
So before I start showing you the footage, I want to say a few things about the Red Raptor because I had tons of comments on my previous videos where I unboxed it, I tested with different lenses, I even put anamorphic lenses on this Red Raptor, and now I'm testing it with vintage lenses. So first thing that I want to make it clear is that I'm still a Sony guy, I'm still using Sony cameras, and the Red Raptor is not mine. I only got it for a few days to test it out, play with it, and see if it is a good investment for myself and if I should buy this camera or not, because everyone is hyped on Red cameras. And to be honest, it's kind of tempting to buy this camera as well, not for the image that you get with it, but mostly for the fact that it's a camera that might bring projects. And I don't want to think like that because it's not the case here. We live in 2022 where you can make amazing footage with any camera out there. But I was curious, and what I did is basically I wanted to see if this camera brings me projects, and I made the whole story in a way that it seems that I bought the camera. Just to see that if clients get more interested in working with me or if other brands coming to work with me only because I own a Red Raptor. And the sad story is that nothing like this happened. There were no clients coming in just because I have a Red Raptor. There were no phone calls saying, hey, we have a project, you have a Red Raptor, you should come on this project. So camera nowadays, it seems it's not so important, especially if you want to pay that much on a camera. Well, if you live maybe in a different country than I am, maybe this would be a good investment for yourself. But I wanted to make this thing clear, and now I want to go back to showing you the footage because I managed to put some vintage lenses on the Red Raptor, and it wasn't perfect because I had some errors in the camera that wouldn't let me press record. So I don't have that much footage, but what I have is enough for us to see how image looks or how good the image looks with the Red Raptor paired with some very old vintage lenses. So let's see.
All day, yeah, we do this all day, all day, all day. Yeah, we do this all day. All day, yeah, we do this all day, all day, all day. Yeah, we do this all day. Got my paycheck, put it on black, hit that, run it back. Now I'm sitting on simple racks, Made a few moves at the track, hit the parlay, eating parfait with some flapjacks. Ain't no don't start till 4. So I'm going back for more. Tacos, nachos galore at the buffet. I'ma conquistador. I'm going back to thirds. Okay, hostess at a loss for words. Okay.
So if we're looking at the Helios paired with this Red Raptor, we can clearly see that we have some really beautiful bokeh in the background. I obviously shot in a way that you can see a lot of texture in the background because this is how you justify using a vintage lens. If you put a vintage lens on something that doesn't have structures in the background or surface or like trees or something that brings bokeh or anything like that, you don't see the benefits of using vintage lenses. But in our case, we had a lot of trees, a lot of things in the background, and we can clearly see how beautiful that squirrely bokeh is on the edges and how good it looks. I think it looks pretty cool, and to be honest, for a vintage lens this old, the image is quite sharp. Even though, I want to say this, I realized that the Red Raptor 8K, even though it's an 8K camera, it's not that sharp, which is kind of odd. Like 8K should be like super sharp, but it's not. I'm guessing you can pull out some really sharp images as well, but what I want to say right now is that I also tested this camera with another vintage lens, which is a Makinon, and it's a 35mm and it's an f2.8, and this one is way more vintage than the Helios because it has a lot of blooming and it kind of looks like I put a Promise filter on top. So let's see the footage as well.
All day, yeah, we do this all day, all day, all day. Yeah, we do this all day. All day, yeah, we do this all day, all day, all day. Yeah, we do this all day.
Can't stop me now, you can't stop me. Can't stop me now, you can't stop me.
Alright, so now that you have seen this footage, let me know what you think about it. Do you think it looks cool? Do you think it's too washed out? What do you think about it? Again, I didn't have enough footage with it, but hopefully what I have is enough for us to judge how it looks. This was it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this short video about vintage lenses and about my opinion about the Red camera. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe. And I'm Alexandru, and thanks a lot for watching. Cheers.